Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your logic project. So this will be the first project that you will do for this class. In this project, you will have two parts. First is finding some adds and writing conditional statements, and the second part is your truth table. Both of those will be done in the same form and submitted to the Dropbox on the due date. Along the way towards that due date, you will have some checkpoints, and so the first one of those is about your magazine ads. So what I want you to do is to find two full-page magazine ads. You can find those out of a magazine if you have them and scan them, take a picture of them, something like that. I'm just going to Google for magazine ad examples, and you'll get a bunch of them that you could use. You cannot use the one that I used today for an example, okay? But you can use any other ads that you can find and that you like, but we'll just do an example today so you can see what I'm asking you to do. So we'll go to Google real quick and do this first part. So we'll go full page magazine ad examples, and then we're just going to go to the images, and then you get a lot of images in here, right? You can search for anything that you want. You want to try to find something that's fairly easy for you to like write as an ad, right? So let's try this one. What I'm going to do is right click on this and then just open the image in a new tab. That will let me see it a little bit better, right? And then I can look here. Okay. So we're going to copy this image, and then we're going to open Word. So again, you need to make sure that you download and install Word on your computer. One, so that it's easy for you to get to very quickly, and two, because the forms will only work in an actual online version or downloaded version of Word. So we're going to paste this. Okay. So now we have the Word document, and it's got our ad in it, right? Basically, this ad is telling me that if I use a Palm device, then my life will be organized, right? So for the ad submission, so just your checkpoint for me to check your ads, what I want you to do is paste the ads, just like we did here, into a blank document, and then underneath it, just write what the original conditional statement is. So if you use a Palm device, then your life will be organized. Okay, and then you'll do that for your second statement as well. Save that with your last name and then ads, right? So we'll file save as. I'm going to save it to my OneDrive, and this will be and then I can save that, and then you can upload that to your Dropbox. So again, you need two ads, and you're going to write the two statements, and that's what you'll do for your first ad checkpoint, right? So now that we have this ad, let's go back and see what else I need to do. So after I get my feedback, so I'm going to look at your ads and I'm going to tell you if they're good, they're not good, if you might want to consider rewriting your if-then statement. Again, those if-then statements need to be very specific to what's trying to be sold, right? I'm not just trying to sell you any Android device, right? I'm trying to sell you a very specific Palm device, right? So then after I do that, then I'm going to go to my form. So to get to the Logic Project form, you go to eCampus and you'll download it, right? You may have to allow it to be edited and all that kind of good stuff. The first page on there is the rubric. This is basically telling you how you'll be graded, right? And then we get to the actual place I want you to put the ads. So I'm going to come back over here, and we're going to copy this again, just to make sure that everything's good. And then if you click right below the original conditional statement, it gives you a cursor. You can paste it again there, right? So this is really big. It takes up a lot of room. So what I'm probably going to do is resize this. So I'm just going to like make it a little bit smaller. I should still be able to see the ad, understand it, but again, you've already submitted them to me. I know what they are, so as long as I can see that it is the same ad that you used before, that's fine. And then I'm going to retype my statements, right? So this is the same statement. If you use a Palm device, then Palm. Then your life will be organized. After that, I'll write the converse, the inverse, and the contrapositive. Again, they always start with if, right? So the converse, inverse, contrapositive, we talked about that in 3.4, so you can go back and look at that. Once you have those written, I'm going to write the contrapositive so that we can talk about the truthfulness, right? So contrapositive, I negate both of them and I change the order. So I would say if your life is not organized, then you do not use a Palm device. So now we need to say whether or not we believe the original statement is true or false. So this is where the idea of the original statement and its contrapositive having the same meaning comes in, right? They should have the same truth value. If they don't have the same truth value, then neither of them is a true, valid statement, right? So it may be true that if I use a Palm device, then my life will be more organized, right? But if my life is not more organized, does that necessarily mean that I don't use a Palm device? Are there not other factors that could influence my life to be unorganized, even if I don't use one, right? So I would say that this is false. And because the original statement and the contrapositive do not have the same truth values. Okay, so I'm not asking you to write a truth table for this and to check and see if they have the same truth values or anything like that, right? I'm asking you just to think about what the words say in the original statement and think about what the words say in the contrapositive and decide if they have the same meaning, if they're saying the same thing, right? If they are not, then that is a false statement. But if they are, then that is a true statement, right? And then you'll do the same thing for the converse and the inverse, right? So you'll write your converse, you'll write your inverse, and then you'll decide if they have the same meaning, and that's how you can decide if the converse of the original statement is also true or false, right? So let's go back to the instructions. So that's all of the part for, that's all of part one, right? And so you'll do those two ads, and then that part's done, and then we'll talk about the truth table. So for your truth tables, I will send to you in your email a statement ID number, right? And so that ID number is the number that you'll use to find your statement on the list, and that's the statement that you'll use to complete your truth table, right? So when you do this, again, the very first thing that I want you to do is to let's open a new one. Is to send to me for your checkpoint just the headings of your truth table, right? So in order to do this, I need to know how to put a table in. So I'm going to go up here to insert and then right here to table. It only needs to be the heading, so I only want the one, and then however many columns you think it's going to need to be, right? So again, one for each letter, one for any negation of a letter, one for any parentheses, one for the entire statement, right? All of those kind of things is what I want you to type up here. And then you're just going to type them in. So most of these are A, B's, and C's, right? And then we'll usually have a negation of something. And then we'll usually have some set of parentheses, right? So now here's the tricky part. So in order to get the symbols, what you're going to need to do is go to Insert and go over here to Symbol, right? And then, well, actually, let's go to Equation because it's better. We're going to go to Equation and then Insert New Equation. So when you do that, it gives you like this giant box, but up here at the top is what I'm looking for because I need some symbols for conjunction and disjunction. So if I look at this, I can get my arrow for my if-then, for my conditional. But if I go down, they don't have conjunction and disjunction on this one. I can click this little like double arrow and open that. And then I can click up here, and we're going to change this to operators. When we change this to operators, now at the very top, I can see that I have my conjunction and my disjunction. So we'll call this one a conjunction. And then I can put my B. So now I have the correct symbols in there, right? If you want to space this to make it look better, you can, right? It's totally up to you. And then we'll do our final statement. I'm going to make my life easier and just copy and paste that part. I do want that arrow now, so we're going to go back to insert. We're going to go back to equation to get my arrows. I think we had some on here. Oh, we're in the operators. Go back to basic math. My if-then, and then we want C. Again, if you want to add spaces to make it a little bit easier to read, you can. And then that's all you need to send me. So for the submission checkpoint, right? So for the truth table heading submission checkpoint, this is all you need to do. So you're going to save this. So file, save as. I'll save it in the same place. Again, we're going to go last name. And we're going to do truth table columns. And then we'll save that. You'll submit that to the Dropbox for the checkpoints, right? Once you're done, and I have given you your feedback, right? So after you receive your feedback about your truth table column headings, then you can complete your truth table, right? So in order to do this, we'll go back to the form. And we'll go all the way to the very last page. So you'll say up here, my statement ID number is, and then you'll type in whatever that number was, right? 2, 3, 5, 27, right? I've already given you the A, B, and C. We did, I think, not C. To make your life easier, you can go back to your truth table column checkpoint. You can copy this, and then you can go back to the form, and you can paste it, so that way you don't have to go hunting for everything again, right? So the same thing for the final statement, because I had all that stuff in there. I'm just going to copy it all. And then I'm going to go back to my form. And I'm going to paste it. Now I've already given you the truth values for A, B, and C. You need to find not C. You need to find A and B. You need to find A and B, then C, not C, right? And then you're going to come down here. So this is exactly like what we did in all of the videos, right? In every video, whenever we made a truth table, we always talked about my statement is true when, or my statement is true except when, right? So you're going to choose one, and then you're going to choose the one you have the least of, right? Trues or falses, and then you're going to tell me the original values for A, B, and C that make the final column true or false, right? So I'm looking for the original values. Unfortunately, because this is 8 possibilities, you are probably going to have more than one. Some of you will be lucky and only have one that's different, right? But most of you will probably have 3 that are different. And so you have to tell me all 3 of those, right? So if you have 5 trues and 3 falses, you're going to say my statement is true except when, and you're going to tell me all of the values of A, B, and C that make it false at the end, right? So you're going to say, so we're just going to make some stuff up here real quick. So let's say that this is the final column of your truth table, right? You're going to say my statement is true except when, so that's on row 3, when A is true, B is false, and C is true. A is true, B is false, and C is true, comma. Then we're going to go down to row 6, false, true, false. When A is is false, B is true, and C is false. And when then on row 7, I've got false, false, true. When A is false, B is false, and C is true. So you don't need to write the words true and false. You can just use the letters T and F. But you do have to give me the original values of A, B, and C for all of them, right? So this is the basic idea of how you'll complete this project. Once you're done with this project, save it, submit it to the Dropbox before the deadline. I will grade it for you using the rubric. So that rubric will tell you exactly how many points everything is, right? So if you've done all of those things and you're pretty sure that they're right, then you should have a good idea of what grade that you'll get on the project. If you have questions about the project, any portion of this, finding the ads, pasting the ads, anything like that, writing your statements, make sure that you email me long enough before, right? So early enough before the deadline of the actual project to make sure that you can get that grade done. If you miss a checkpoint, those checkpoints are not huge amounts of your grade, but they are parts of your grade, right? So, but the checkpoints are meant to help you. They're meant to let you communicate with me along the way as you work on this project so that I can give you feedback and hopefully make sure that you get that project done on time and get a good grade. But again, if you have any projects, please, please, please contact me as soon as possible.